everyone, and welcome back to the Hazardous Artist series, episode 15 Eyes. And I see what I did there. Such a corny pun. Anyway, today is a very special type of Mel's Log related Hazardous Artist episode in which I will teach you guys or show you guys or give a tutorial to you guys, however you want me to put it, of how I do my very special eyes. I'm actually going to resize this image because I don't like the size of it. It is too big for me. Do 600 by 600. That seems reasonable, right? Right? Okay, so resize my canvas because I'm just doing one eyeball. I'm not doing two eyes because every artist can relate. Trying to do that second eye, it's just... So anyway, so I'm gonna teach you guys or show you guys how to do eyes in my style. I do have to warn you, it is very, and I say this all the time, it's very unconventional. I'm very hazardous about the way that I do my eyes, and I'm gonna jump right into the inking, and then I'm gonna jump right into the coloring. So follow along, guys. So typically when I start, I use a bigger brush because I'm more into the erasing than I am into making the perfect line. And I feel like a lot of artists do the perfect line very well, but as you can see, my brush is just a tad bit shaky. I would not work well in a surgeon's office, let's say. So dissections in biology labs were very difficult. So I changed the tool option on my brush to stabilizer with the distance being a 173.5. I do this because it gives my brush a little bit more stability when I'm drawing rather than like having a crooked line that does this. Now I have a line that does this. So that's perfect for me. So let's get into it. When I do my eyes, I'm going to do an atypical eye for myself, which is usually... You want that little curve, and then I do the little slash down. Because when you draw an eyeball, you have that curve for the upper eye, and then it curls down into the bottom, and then it like connects like a football. And that's kind of what I want. I'm going to make it just a little bit thicker because we're going to pretend this is a woman's eye. And I, for some reason, like all of my women in every drawing I've ever done, to have what appears to be eyeliner in their eyeballs. So I'm going in right now and, oh gosh, no. I will go in and erase any of the extras. Cringe every time, so there might be lots of oopsie daisies like I'm doing right now. Oopsie daisies into my eyes to get them like a narrower look. I want them to taper off at the corner right here, so it gives it more of a like... So you know kind of where the tear duct is, which would be like over there. And then I'll go in and do the same thing on this side. Maybe make this a little bit, do the same thing that I did on this side and just taper it off over here. And do... See, my problem is that I always... like, it has to be perfect for me. And I don't know how many artists can relate to... It has to... Like, every line has to be perfect, but... I'm like that sometimes. So now I'm going to go in and kind of like fill in what I didn't like, and I obviously am doing a very poor job. But not all of my lines are going to be perfectly straight. They're going to have these bumps and everything, which is why I'm pretty sure nobody will hire me as an animator because I would be terrible at it. And so here is what we got, you guys. It's not perfect, and it's not perfect at all. Let me go back and see if I can't. I'm gonna go back in and trim it again. Okay. Wow. Okay. You guys, don't judge me. I have never done a one take wonder tutorial in my entire life. This is my first time. And just even doing live streams like I do with Panel Protagonists every Saturday makes me a little nervous, just because, and I'm a little more used to it with the live stream because I'm not the only one who has to talk, which is nice, because I don't know about you, but I get super incredibly focused on my artwork. I'm going in, guys, and just trying to fix some of these horrible lines that I have. See, it has to be perfect. Okay, this is as perfect as it's gonna get. I'm sorry if it doesn't really sit well with people, but that's okay. That's okay. This is just a little tutorial. So it's okay, you guys. When you do any type of artwork, sometimes you won't get the straightest line. You won't get, the perfect curved line or whatever. And that's okay. I think there's so much oh, I lost my train of thought. That train derailed somewhere and it's probably gone forever. I think a lot of artists just beat themselves up over the fact that their line is not perfectly straight, it's not perfectly curved because there's a lot of shaky room, especially if you're a shaky artist like myself, which is why traditional artwork is much harder for me. So, I'm gonna go in and do the bottom half. And I don't really have any specific technique for doing this. There is a curve. You kind of want to have the curve somewhat match. Sometimes, if anybody actually pays attention and looks into my artwork through the soul of my artwork, like you're looking to somebody's soul through their eyeballs, you will see that a lot of my lines actually don't match up. And I didn't say that out loud. You did not hear that. It's okay. So, that's okay. I'm not worried about perfection. And a lot of my videos, even when I do videos that when I have to use a reference and everything. So what I'm doing here is that this is the best part about digital art, is that I'm kind of adjusting. I made it bigger so that I can show you guys more of the colors that I put into the eyeball itself. But I adjusted it. It looked a little too curvy for me, so I adjusted the angle of the eyeball. And then so here's our final product for our outline of the eyeball. And now I'm going to do a separate layer. So I come down here, press the plus. This is a tutorial for any pretty much any platform that you use, like Photoshop and everything, because most of the brushes that I'll be using are the same brushes that are in Photoshop or GIMP or Procreate or any of that. So for this particular piece, I'm gonna go with something that's, I do the circle. What do you get? The shape brush for circles, and I just draw a simple eye. I like my eyes to be big. My inspiration was from a manga artist by Rina Tanamura. She's my favorite manga artist. I do love her content as well in her mangas. She's a shoujo artist. So right now, after I did the circle brush and I adjusted where I wanted the actual iris to be, now we have the complete outline minus the eyelashes, depending on if you're drawing a guy or a girl. If you're a particular artist who likes to draw eyelashes on your male characters, I know a lot of artists do that, and they do very well. I do not, so I never do it. So I'm just adding wrinkles above the eyes because it gives it more of a better feel for the eye, and then I'll do my very, very quick eyelashes. Quick. Boom. Okay. Not the best, but it's alright. And then I'll just quickly put in a pupil right there. And I do my pupils very small. Some artists don't do a very specific pupil where there is color in their pupil, or it's very big and it's kind of shaded out or highlighted out. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's not a pupil you would see in everybody else's eyes. So there's the outline of the eyeball. Now we're gonna get into the fun part. I'm gonna actually do a new layer. Please, when you do this, do the layer underneath the line layer. It will make it easier and you don't go over your lines by mistake, and then you won't have to worry about, when you erase it, you have to erase it just perfectly. When you do it this way, you have a little wiggle room about how much you're putting into your eyeballs. So here we go. I'm going to do green because green's my favorite color. I love green, so we are doing green eyeballs. And I'm going to carefully outline this, I said careful. How dare you? I don't know how I can see that. So I'm just gonna outline my eyeballs because we always outline our eyeballs with whatever weird things we see on the internet that we pretend that we don't see in real life. And there we go. So that's the outline. I do this now. I didn't used to do this. I used to always color outside the lines. But then I realized that there's this wonderful, wonderful thing on these drawing programs like Krita, which is what I use, and Procreate and Photoshop, in which you can clip groups together and alpha lock any subsequent layers within that group, and then the colors don't go outside, so which is so nice, but kind of bad for me because I like to blend everywhere, but I hate erasing. So we're gonna do a clipping group. So we're gonna do a quick clipping group. We got a new layer within this group. We can also add layers within this group. Just be sure to hit that alpha lock button. You don't want your colors to go outside. So in my mask layer, I will hit that multiply button, and then for the brush I'm gonna use a darken brush. It's in Krita, it's called Adjust Multiply. I don't know what it would be called in other programs, but it is your multiply brush. It shows this. So this is the base multiply, but then you could go back over it with the same brush and it'll just keep multiplying. You can't do that with regular airbrushes, because here's the airbrush. Just check it out. So you can't. Oh, right, because it's masked. Never mind. Here, let me do that. Okay, so that's the regular airbrush on multiply. If I did it up here, it would make it darker, but it wouldn't go any darker than that. So as you can see, it did not go darker than that. And oh, see, this is what happens when you push on do too many times, Mel. Okay, I'm gonna alpha lock that layer again so that my colors remain inside the eyeball. I'm gonna just bring out a very hard bristle brush. In Krita, it's called the bristles mix. It's within the brushes I have used so far is within the normal Krita brush collection. So you should be able to find these brushes within Krita if you're using Krita, but I can only imagine that Photoshop and Procreate have also these brushes. They're pretty standard brushes. So what I did is that I blended in all of the green coloring. I kind of want the mixture of the multiply, I want to say shade and shadow at the same time, and it's just like shit. This shadow layer, I want to blend it in so that the shadow layer looks a little bit more realistic, a little bit more, poppy. I like my things to pop out like cotton candy at a fair. Okay, so now we're on a new layer. I'm on the layer above the shadow layer, and then I'm going to just turn the color to a lighter shade of green, and then I'm going to go in, not with this brush, with with my lighten brush. So it's like the same thing as the multiply brush, except this time instead of shadow, I get lighter shades. So like more of my highlights come out. And then I'll go in with my very hard bristle brush and mix that all together, kind of mix it out, and give it that nice little softer feel with a harsher highlight at the bottom. And so after that, I'll grab my regular ink brush, and then I'll lighten up the color of the green that we're using, and then I'll go in and add harsh highlights. And for me, they have to be very specific. Alright, I add in a highlight there. Oop, that's not where I want my highlight. Highlight right underneath the pupil, right on the edge, maybe 2, 3, to get it that nice. And then before I continue on, I'll go back to my ink layer and I'll do a layer above that, grab my harsh white color and do a harsh highlight right where the pupil ends. I might do more than just the regular 2. I might just do 1 depending on the actual piece I am working on, and then I'll come back to my clipping group, and then I will do another layer and I'll turn the opacity down, which is this lovely bar right here, down to about 30 for now. Depends on how dark the colors I'm about to put in are. This is the part that I like the most. I tend to go for colors, because I do too. I tend to go for colors that match somewhat to the green cool undertones. I may go for a warmer color depending on what my subject is looking at. Like if they're looking at a sunset, they're gonna have warmer colors. So this character, maybe she's out in the forest. We'll give her a nice little blue color, kind of right in the middle between the lightest blue, the bluest blue and the darkest blue. We'll go between those two. I'll bring up, oh, don't forget to turn on alpha, and then I'll just increase the size of my brush and go in and just add that in there. Lovely. This is a very nice opacity. And then if she's looking in the forest, maybe I'll have like a maybe a tealish or more cyan-y color, and I'll go in and I'll do that same thing on the other side. If I don't lock it. Well, we are locking. If we don't like it, we could turn on the canvas lock, which just means that these two acts as an alpha lock, but it's only for these two particular colors that I put in. And I don't really like that cyan-y color, so let's try purple. Purple might be too dark. Let's try it lighter purple. Okay. Well, lighter purple does work better. Let's try an even lighter purple. There we go. Okay. It's still a little dark, but that's okay. So after that, if I was really, not happy with how this purple turned out, sometimes I'll do a separate layer and turn the opacity down lower than the layer below it so that the colors kind of give their own pop. And so that's how I do all of this. And then I shall go another layer above, turn the opacity down to about 60, 65. I'll take my color tool down to one of the lighter colors and put it in a yellow, and I'll adjust the color depending on how bright yellow I want it. And this one, unfortunately, is a downloadable brush set that you can get from DeviantArt. But they do also have a brush set for, stars. There's one right here for the star field, which is what I use. I use star fields, but I like the DVAD V8/2 on the Starfield brush because for me it looks a lot better, and I'll just go crazy with it. And then I'll go back to layers because I forgot to alpha lock, and then I'll alpha lock it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is normally how I would do my eyes. I might experiment with it a little bit, but this is typically how I do my eyes. If you guys like this video, because we are actually out of time, if you guys like this video, then hit that like button. Comment below on questions you have. Like, how did I come up with this? It came with lots of experimentation. Oh, I gave the answer. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, comment below and share with everyone you know. Unfortunately, this is a one-take wonder, and I'm already messing up. It's fine. So don't forget, you guys, Panel Protagonist is coming back on Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another spoopy session. Yes, another spoopy session. It is our last spoopy session of the month, and I hope you guys can come. It'll be fun. I'm not really sure what I'm going to draw for this particular spoopy session, but hey, that's the whole fun of figuring out what I'm going to do and what we're going to talk about. You never know. It might be fun. But it is also Halloween, so woo! Okay, so you guys, unfortunately I had to end it here. And I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully. It'll be fun. But until then, dare to create.